Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We're into November of 1983. We've only got 9 weeks left in 1983. Then we'll journey into 1984, the year that everything begins to change. Of course, 1984, the beginning of the Hulk Hogan era in the WWF, and wrestling in territory form begins to slide, according to many. So we'll see how that happens in world class episodically. But we open this particular program with some interesting things of note. Mike Reed against a returning Black Gordman. Gordman is, in fact, and there's the show just kicked on for me. So you heard the welcome to the Sportatorium there. In any event, Mike Reed versus Black Gordman is the opening contest. Gordman's been here before, probably about a year and a half ago. It doesn't seem he stays long. Of course, last week he makes a challenge to Jose Lothario. The last time we saw Lothario, anyway. Reed is out-wrestled here early. Gordman, a big deal in Mexico, and so not terribly far away from the Texas border. Reed does bounce around quite a bit. I don't know why he's called Black Gordman, and yet he's wearing primarily red. He does have a black part to his outfit, but would be better to call him Red Gorman, unless there's a story behind the name. Anyway, back leg round kick, and then some cheating by Gordman. We then move into the latter part of the match, where we actually do see police officers at ringside. So there's actually uniformed police officers. So there's actually at least some partial thought that Gordman or the rest of the talent is in trouble here in the Sportatorium. Gordman does choose to use strikes in a very liberal way. Odd to see Mike Reed get as much offense as he does in this contest, with Gordman being a guy who's probably only through for a little while. He uses strikes very liberally and beats down Reed. Reed has not really done too much of note here in Texas. Gordon pops off knee lifts as needed, pops off strikes as needed, but a hammerlock and bit of mat wrestling by Reed. I mean, they go almost 10 minutes, which for Mike Reed is a big deal here in world class, especially against a guy we haven't seen in a while. Back body drop by Reed. A little distressing in that Gordman barely got over on the back body drop. So there's some signs there that things may not be all that great, but a DDT-style maneuver by Gordman gets him the victory. We move into a rare but very good women's match. Judy Martin, one half of what later became the Glamour Girls within about 3.5 years or so, faces off against Princess Victoria. Some people claiming Victoria for this point in her journey. One of the better women's wrestlers, announced as 5'8", 145, which for the time, pretty big. They actually do a good bit of wrestling and grappling. Victoria, obviously the quicker of the two, also the more, I guess you'd say, technically proficient. They do grapple over an arm lock and wrist lock quite a bit. Judy Martin bails to the outside when she cannot get things going her way. Martin and Victoria both trained by the late fabulous Moolah. Many of the ladies that came out of her camp, matter of fact, most of the women in this era came out of Moolah's camp, so they are familiar with each other even before getting in the ring here. Victoria slides over into leg locks and leg grapevines at a midpoint in the matchup. One thing I like is that she does, and I know it's just a body motion thing, but she does look like she's cinching up on the maneuver, which sometimes we miss. And so then she goes for a big splash. A few minutes later, lands on the knees of Martin. Martin is willing to lay her out by any means necessary and hits a awkward stomp to the midsection. Gets a 1-2 count, but out the back door comes Victoria. Victoria gets beat upon for the next several minutes. The old hair twirl flip by the hair is used here by Martin, and the favor is returned. Big chops by Victoria. Victoria starts to do what appears to be some sort of Native American dance, although the announcers don't spend a terrible length of time disclosing her heritage or lack thereof. High cross body and a 3 count for Victoria, and she gains the victory. Then we move into probably one of the worst matches of the year in World Class, as Kamala has what would have to be considered one of, if not his first real challenge, although the problem is that his challenge is in the form of the Junkyard Dog. Now, Junkyard Dog has had battles with his weight and influence of power, both politically and physically, for several years back and forth. Of course, Ritter, who is the legit surname of the dog, has been across to many territories, most notably making a major name for himself in Mid-South, does do a small stint in the world-class area, although I don't even know how many TV appearances he has. It doesn't look like he has many. But this particular match is, well, not good. Very slow, very plodding. It gives Kamala a challenge in that Dog has enough power to get after him, but then they go to chin locks and reverse sleeper holds and the like, and it just is a match that, unless you are 1,000% behind the Junkyard Dog, and you don't have reason to be because he's not from your territory, this match kills the image of Kamala and also doesn't do a heck of a lot for the dog either. So Kamala does splash him in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, but the dog out the back door. The hilarious part of this is that Dog does a powerful kick out at 2, maybe 2.5, but Kamala oversells it and almost jumps off the dog as if he's been bitten by a spider. Just a hilarious thing. Akbar trips the dog from the outside. Referee questions it but doesn't officially see it. And then, Kemshi is complaining on the other side of the ring. So referee has his attention greatly diverted. And then Junkyard Dog sends Kamala across and hits a clothesline that Kamala begins to bump for before he's even struck. Kemshi brought into the ring. Akbar brought into the ring, and the referee loses all control of this one. So technically, I believe Kamala wins by disqualification here. And needless to say, not a good showing for the dog, not a good showing for Kamala. Probably not a match you'd want to see again anytime soon. And I know people have said they've had good matches, but this really doesn't strike me to be one of them. Then we go to a tag team match, which isn't bad. Much better than what's been here before, as Chris Adams and Johnny Mantell face the Freebirds. Gordy and Hayes is this particular edition of the Freebirds. And Mantell and Adams have teamed before. Variant success, although the Freebirds, very forgiving fellows. Gordy wants in there and actually So does Adams. Everybody is really ferocious in the early beginning of the match. Gordy tries to slow things down. Freebirds clear the ring, and they try to keep the baby faces out of the ring for quite a while, as gaining advantages by any means necessary seems like something they are willing to do. There is a point where a moderate comeback, including a rather nicely done back body drop by Chris Adams. Adams fires up, and Michael Hayes is scared of fired up Chris Adams, to say the very least. Um, and then an attempted double team on Adams, as we are mere minutes from the close of the program. Gordy again tries to use the spike, also tries to get Adams to pass out via the front chin lock, and Freebirds are less than happy with many of the things that happen. Kevin Von Erich, into the ring, interferes, sends the Freebirds running. Obviously, they win by disqualification. Visual pin by Von Erich over the Freebirds to set up next week's continuation of their feud, but not the best main event. And then we come back, and the Freebirds are angry. They want to clear the air and do all they can do, but needless to say, Freebirds Von Erich still continue well into November of '83. We'll be back with more right after this.